we have workshop on design and material specifications, typical type of specifications which you need to write when you are dealing with steel projects, steel building projects mainly. All of you can come forward, there is no problem. In fact, I will also sit down, and there is no need to, yeah. So we want to discuss on what type of specifications one should write, so that you get more accurate quotations, so that you have better quality of design, so that you avoid reworking on these things. Before I go on to seminar, I'll just briefly tell you about myself and my company, what we do. We at DCS, our value is we believe in to be known as good engineering company. We don't say we are civil engineers, we are mechanical engineers, we are electrical engineers and all. I would like to be known as a good engineer who understands fundamental of science and who can apply those fundamental of science to the benefit of society and to the benefit of the customer for whom you are working. So to achieve those things, we have 4 distinguished qualities which we aim to develop in our team. That is value-added technical expertise. So whatever technical expertise we have, it must add some value in every project that we do. Secondly, innovative engineering solutions. If you are able to innovate, if you give innovative solutions, you will automatically achieve value engineering. And there is no end to learning. Keep innovating, keep trying new things. Then only you can survive in the market. If you are designing same old traditional buildings, that's not going to work. Third is client conscious approach. For us, every client is different. They have their own set of requirements, their own set of challenges, their own set of tasks that we need to do, time frame requirements. You know? So we need to have client conscious approach. There are few clients, they are very niche, top of the line people who don't mind investing more money, but they want top-notch facilities. So we should know that, no, this customer wants top-notch thing. Give them the best quality rather than giving them the cheapest ones. On the other side, there are few customers who want cheapest thing. So then you should know that he don't want to spend. Don't show him expensive things and then later on start fighting. He has limited budget, you need to fit within that. So it has to be a client conscious approach. One specification cannot work for all. Everybody has their requirements and your specifications has to be compliant with that. And last but not the least is commitment to cost and schedule. I can very proudly tell you 95, not 95, maybe 99% or 100% of my projects are exactly dot at the price at which we have given order to PEB vendor. Never ever had a situation where I have to approve some extra cost from PEB vendor. All those requirements are visualized before, incorporated correctly in our estimate, and based on those estimates, the work orders are given. Even when we are giving work order, the last round of negotiation, you will have all PEB vendor within plus minus 2% of the cost estimate which I have given to my customer. So we believe in doing things accurately first time, not to wait for somebody to list out requirements, somebody to say that, no, sir, we want to make this change, make that change. You do it correct the first time, you will do it fastest possible. So these are our values. My team is we are not very big. My experience, total experience is about 32 years, out of which 23 years I have been running this company, Designers Consultancy Services. I'm MTech from IIT Bombay, and I have done B from MS University Baroda. I hold 3 gold medals at that level. Engineering team has total 6 engineers. One is experienced person who is retired director of MN Dastur. Those who have worked with MN Dastur will know. And there are 5 moderately experienced, which includes experience from 3 years to 15 years. And this team, believe me, this team achieves on an average about 1.2 crore square feet every year, and on an average about 50,000 ton of steel design every year. This team is delivering that only because system is set in office, quality standards are set in office, and as I told you, we believe in doing it perfect first time. Every revision is very, very expensive. We don't want to get into that because that erases of my profit. So we do it right first time. Everybody benefits out of it. Okay, we also have two architects in our team. One is experienced architect, one is moderately. We don't do much of architectural work, but some small editing here and there, small modifications in drawing that has come from customer, that needs to be carried out. Now, I cannot ask customer that, no sir, uske paas se hi karwao. So we need to do that. For that, I have kept two architects in my office. We also have drafting team in our office, 3 draftsmen we have. We also have Tekla. We have 4 licenses of Tekla structures in our office. And it will be there in my next slide, but we are proud. It doesn't matter to my customer or to anyone else, but it matters to me. And we are very proud to say that we use only authorized softwares in our office. We don't use any pirated thing in office. All the softwares which we, apart from StatPro and all, there are many softwares which we have developed ourselves for our own use, because we don't want to use pirated things that is available floating around in the market. We also have tie-up with MEP and HVAC agencies in case in some project we require to provide those services. Our infrastructure, we have 2 offices, one in Malad, one in Kandivali. Malad is main office where all engineers, drafting team, all technical people house. And Kandivali is mainly our commercial thing is taken care of in Kandivali. I have already said we believe in only authorized softwares, and all workstations, sophisticated hardwares, high-end hardwares, and floating, etc. Some of the projects, I'm just showing you 3-4 projects, which some landmark projects that we have done. This is for Midea Limited in area called Supa. This was total construction area is about 14 lakh square feet, spread in 3 buildings. All 3 buildings are designed by us. The first building which you are seeing, almost squarish building, is 180 meter by 240 meter, I think. So 180 meter is the width of the building. We have provided fascia, which is about 5.5 meter tall. So that's the size or scale of a project. And this entire project was completed in about, I think, 1 year, 1 month or so, in lockdown. So even PEB supplies, everything happened, and amount of detailing that we do, amount of the way we write specifications, we will ensure that you don't have to revise, you don't have to modify things. Same building from inside, there are 40 meter clear inside spans loaded with so many services, because they are into manufacturing of compressors. They are, I think, world number 1 in compressor manufacturing. They have close to about 40% share. That's what they have been telling us. So very big project and timely completed, challenging requirements. This is another project. This is for Detweiler Pharmaceutical. They are German pharmaceutical company and German engineering. The engineering was challenging here. This was about 5,000 ton of structural steel, and I have another photograph I'll show you. Amount of complications that we have. Stat model was taking about 3.5 hours to run once. So we had to upgrade our hardware to the highest server level hardware so that we can run it faster. Otherwise, you cannot do this project at all. These are some of the photographs. Now you will see some part is I-beam, some part is truss. Now in truss area, there is a mezzanine floor which is suspended from roof. They don't want column below. So unsupported mezzanine span of about 48 meter, which is suspended from roof. I have some more picture also, I'll show you that. See this. There is no column. You can see in between you have those 3-4 columns, but at certain locations there is no column. That span is about 40 meter odd. some part is suspended from roof. You can see this. This is suspended from roof. There is no column below. Similarly, this is suspended from roof. These are suspensions from roof. This is suspension from roof. There is no column below. So somewhere you have suspensions along rafter, somewhere you have suspensions across rafter. So kind of complications that we have. This is in totality about 2.5 lakh square feet. 2.5 lakh square feet of 5,000 ton, you can imagine. It was that level of, somewhere you have load of 2 ton per meter square, somewhere 500. You have even crane in that area. That 40 meter unsupported span has a crane operation. How do you have crane beam of 40 meter length? How do you control deflections? So we had those kind of challenges. We come out of that and this successfully executed. There is another project is Rafale hangar that is in Nagpur. It's designed by us. The same photograph. We have construction photographs also, but I have cut short that. This is under construction. Now if anybody notices, sheeting is inside. Runner is outside. Can anybody guess why it is so? This is done to protect insulation. This project had insulation. Insulation is to be provided on external face of sheeting. Now, when I do insulation, if I keep only insulation, it will blow out. So protect it with sheeting, then put insulation, and then put another layer of sheeting outside. Right. So these are all client conscious approach. Client wants to do it fast. How do you achieve that speed? Now, if I keep that side open, I cannot do civil work inside. So you close that, give clearance to civil guys, and then you do your work outside. You may have to put little more on sheeting, but that's okay. Right? This is next Cipla Limited factory in Sikkim. This was G plus 3-story building. Each floor plate is 1 lakh square feet. Challenge here was to access internal part. The civil is done, and then we were told to convert from civil to steel. Foundations are done. So I cannot get crane inside. Crane can stand outside only. This is hilly terrain. Level difference from one side to other side was 15 meters. In 100 meter, 15 meter is a slope. So how do you do erection in that kind of areas and all? So to keeping that challenge in mind, we designed it. Further, you cannot transport more than 6 meters. It's hilly area, so maximum member length will be 6 meters. Every 6 meters you have to have joint. Every joint needs to be designed. For 5,000 ton, we did that. So this is that photograph. This is during construction. So we have 2 mammoth tower cranes located on outer side with bamboo length of more than 50 meters. Imagine this bamboo length is 50 meters. And it has to lift the tip load of 4 ton, 5 ton. It's massive by any means. The foundation of those tower crane, for each of them, the cost was about 20 lakh rupees, the foundation cost, because you have to stop it from overturning. But that is the requirement. You have to do it. Okay, same project photograph. Then we have done many warehouses across India for many customers. This is L'Oreal warehouse. This is about 4.5 lakh square feet in Chakan. This was done in year 2011-12. And 4 lakh square feet constructed in 8 months flat. This is from inside. All the racking and all we give them dry possession. You keep installing your downtakes and gutters outside, and they'll complete their racking, etc. inside. There are many other warehouses. This is for Indospace, Chakan Industrial Park. We constructed about 20 lakh square feet in more than 20 lakh. 14 buildings. Yeah, it will be about 25 lakh square feet at one location, and this also is hilly area. At certain locations, we have had cutting of hill to the tune of about 9 meters. And at certain locations, we have done filling of 20 meters. 20 meters of filling. So that cutting and filling plan, optimum cutting filling plan were made. So you cut here and then fill here like that. And then warehouses, all these warehouses are sitting on that filled up land. But the SBC of filled up land is 35 ton per meter square because you have cut hill and filled it. We have also done few tower structures, heavy industrial structures. The one which you are seeing is actually Tekla model of manufacturing tower for Indo-Gulf fertilizers. It's a Birla Group company. They are into manufacturing of fertilizers, different, and they did some research. If you put particular fertilizer, you will have all potatoes of same size. So they wanted to do trial run of that. For trial run, we made this plant. This is the scale of plant that we made for that trial run. First batch of fertilizer production. So this tower was about, I think, 35 or 40 tall, with so many machineries inside and cladded with sheeting outside. This is actual site photograph of the same tower. You can see different levels. Same tower after some time. Because you are manufacturing fertilizer inside, life of tower, they said, will not be more than 2.5 years. It will corrode away within 2 years. It is known, but because it is a pilot plant, we don't want to spend more money on that. Let it get corroded away. No. The checkered plate which we laid on floor got corroded away in a year's time. They had to remove it and replace that. That's the amount of corrosion that fertilizer was generating. We have designed few aircraft hangars also. Rafale fighter jet I have shown you. I cannot display true photograph of this hangar. This is for Indian Navy at Karwar. This is 60-meter clear span hangar. We have designed at Goa also. Goa was 48-meter clear span. Santa Cruz Airport, we have designed 60-meter clear span. If any one of you had visited Santa Cruz Airport, just besides Jet Airways, there is one Indian Navy hangar. Written in big name, you can read that. Next time when you go, you can see it. We have that hangar, and because of NDAs, I cannot display photographs or anything for that. This is a tower for mixing fly ash with cement. What you get today is not 100% cement. All cement will have about 30 to 40% fly ash mixed in that. So we designed this plant for a company named Aztec India. They purchase fly ash from Lanco power plant in Udupi, and they will mix it with the cement manufactured by ACC. So ACC will supply cement. That cement will be stored in big silos. You are not seeing it because it is exactly behind this tower. That silo is 2,500 ton. It stores 2,500 ton of cement. And fly ash comes from Lanco power plant, so they have a pipe conveyor straight. The fly ash is pumped into that. Mixed product, they also have some admixtures, gypsums and some more admixtures. With that, the cement which is produced is automatically filled in the bag, and those bags are then sold to market. This plant is fully automated. Not even one person is working on floor, including bag filling, including bag loading on trailer. That also is automated. All these things are 100% automatic. We have also designed the silos. I have a core competence in heavy industrial designs. We designed few cement plants, few power plants and all. Structures, of course, some of them. And silo design has always been my core competence. So these silos, all of them were designed by us. I can give 2,000 ton silo design maybe within few hours. Other may take a week's time to design those silos. Yeah, so I'm not putting, because let's get back to the topic. Specifications which we need to write for any steel building. If you want to construct it accurately, you want to do it well, you want to have accurate pricing of it, what all things you need to write, what all information you should have accurately. So I have tried to list down few of them. In fact, majority of them, what we specify, I have written down. There is anything else. Anybody has any question during this, please stop me, ask there and then only. Don't wait. We will not have that kind of Q&A and all. We'll keep this interactive. We're not big gathering. We're small gathering only. We'll finish off. If you have any questions, please ask there and then. Okay. What I'm planning to cover is first you should define building geometry accurate. Yeah.
Hi, this is Kalyan from Phoenix.
Yeah.
I was trying to understand fireproofing aspect, which is not mentioned anywhere in the discussion. So, is it required or not required for the kind of structures which is done, and what is your take on that?
Yeah, I'll tell you now. On fireproofing, I'll give the answer. It will come down somewhere down the line, but I'll answer your question. Fireproofing, number one, required or not required? Yes, definitely required. We cannot get away with fireproofing. Now, how to achieve that? Okay. Possibility number one, Jindal has come up with fire-resistant steel, which is 3 hours fire rated, which I think will satisfy the requirements, which is one option.
Yes.
One option. Second option is intermission paint, very, very expensive. I don't recommend, but under unavoidable circumstances, you may have to do that. The structure is already erected in position. I want to achieve now. What do I do? You will have to apply something. Second option is intermission paints. Third option is cementitious paints. Some cementitious materials, mortar kind of things are available, which you can apply on structure to achieve fireproofing. Fourth option is separation of that structure. So you say you provide kind of false ceiling or something. Okay, so you have false ceiling, so this entire floor above that false ceiling gets fireproof. As long as your false ceiling is fire rated, the floor above automatically gets fireproofing.
Does it qualify as per the codal norms?
Yes, if you don't have anything above false ceiling, it qualifies. It qualifies. You can use that, you can show it to fire officer that there is no space between false ceiling and my main structural member to provide or for fire to occur. There is no space and this false ceiling is fireproof. So for example, I'll tell you, if your budget suits, you can have dual slab system.
Okay. So my specific question was a lot of hangar designs what you have shown part of your projects. Is it fire protected or not?
No. In hangar
because
design,
that is not even cellulistic, it is hydrocarbon in terms of material.
I know,
yeah.
But hangars are open.
So that's what I was trying to understand.
I'll tell you. And number one, hangars are open. Number two, we have made provision for smoke extractions rather at higher height, not at bottom level, at about 6 meter height and then at around 12.5 meter height, if I'm not forgetting, which will extract out the smoke. As soon as you have fire, the smoke goes out from there. Third thing is, in case of fire, sheeting which we provide, as long as you are providing single skin sheet, that acts as a fuse.
Correct.
Okay, that sheeting will melt within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or half an hour max. Sheeting is gone. The moment sheeting goes, it's open. Then there is no chance of temperature to exceed inside. Right? So you automatically achieve those things. So that's the extent of fireproofing we did. However, in case of Rafale, because we have internal columns, you've seen the photograph, because we need to fireproof those internal columns. Because
that is what it is standing
so that was encased in concrete. We encased those columns in.
You've gone with composite.
You can. I'll take you back that photograph. You will be able to see it yourself. See, you can see the bottom part.
Yeah, I can see.
And that is required only for bottom 4.5 meter. It's not required above that.
Okay.
Right? I hope I have answered. Maybe we'll have some specification
Right,
part to write on that, but yes, we have achieved that. Okay, so all specifications that you need to specify whenever you are constructing a steel building, please write accurate specifications first. What we call it DBR, design basis report. The more accurate your DBR is, the better your design will be, the better your price will be, faster project executions, you will achieve everything. First fundamental thing must be done right. Right? So write detailed building geometry, which includes main building, which includes canopy, which includes mezzanine floors, which includes lean-to sheds if you have, which also includes solid partitions that you have inside. Each of that, write exact size of that, write exact location of that, write exact heights of that, write how you want to construct it. You want to have, in solid partition, you want to have steel construction, you want to have drywall partition. What do you want? Write it accurately. You will spend 2 days or 3 days writing the specifications, but once this document is generated, everybody will follow that document till project is over. And you will avoid reworking. You don't have to, otherwise there will be two different opinion. When writing or when procuring PEB, he said, no, I wanted to have metal sheet on that. But when it goes to construction, no, sir, we need to have solid partition in that. So you will construct solid partition. There's so much of sheeting supplied by PEB vendor lying there, it is wasted. So if you have created that document, one single document which writes all specifications, that will help you throughout life of the project. Maybe it will be helpful to you in next project as well. Just make few modifications here and then you are ready in the next project. Okay. So you also have to then write detailed design specifications. What all loads needs to be considered, what all should be load combinations to be created and utilized. There are specific design requirements like slenderness ratios, B by T ratios, D by T ratios, deflection limits. There are minimum thickness criteria. So many of those specifications you must write down meticulously. You must specify that before you start design work. Please put those 2-3 days. Take my word, you will save at least a month. You will save lot of re-engineering, you will save lot of, and those engineering mandates are really expensive. You have opportunity cost. You have few engineers to do all the job that you have. Don't waste those maneuvers. Right? So there are requirements. I have specified details of each of this. We'll go to detailed slides also. Then you also need to write detailed material specifications which you want to use. What type of primary steel you want to use. You want to use 250 grade, 345 grade, 450 grade, 550 grade. What you want to use, write it down. Don't assume that it will be always 345. Somewhere 345 is not available. Somebody replaces it with 300. No one else will know about it. So if you have written it, if it is documented, that remains a handy document. So you need to write specification, material specifications of each of these items. Primary steel, secondary steel, bought out items like ISMB, ISMCs, pipes and all those things, side cladding sheets, roofing sheet, what quality you want, what color you want, complete color schematic diagram that this is what I want, all accessories like fleshings, downtake pipes, louvers, roof monitors, what you want to use, please write it down. Architects will not be able to do it that detail, because they are not engineers. Engineers will know that this is required, this is not required. It is engineers' responsibility to write those design and material specifications correctly. It is not architect. Architect will say this looks good, this don't look good. This don't look good, but how to make it look good? No, आप बताओ क्या क्या option है. So please take responsibility. Assume that you are the boss. Whatever you say will be executed. And then start writing specification, then start designing it. You cannot rely, नहीं ये detail वो PB वाला देगा बाद में हम लोग okay करेंगे या not okay. No. You are responsible for the design. If there is leakage in the shed, you are responsible for that, not PEB vendor. PEB vendor will visit, sir, मैंने आपको डिटेल दिया था, आपने अप्रूव किया है, खत्म. But you are responsible. Structural engineers are supposed to take those responsibility, right? So please give details. Don't shy away from that. You will learn. You will make 2 mistakes. You will learn out of your mistakes. If you don't do it, you will never learn. Right? So those are detailed material specification. Then there are accessories. There are so many accessories which you provide. You have cage ladder, you have structural steel ladder, you will have hand railings, you will have louvers, you will have roof monitor, you will have screws. Write down detailed specification for each of them. And writing specification is engineer's responsibility, is not an architect's responsibility or not contractor's responsibility. Please understand and accept this. It is engineer's responsibility to write it correctly. Later on, he said, नहीं sir, ये तो normally PB वाले करते हैं, हम लोग नहीं करते हैं. That's only excuse. You are running away from your responsibility, nothing else. Okay, now go to building geometry. As I told you, we will see this in more detail, each one of these. Building size, you need to mention length of the building, width of the building, base spacings, roof slope, clear height of the building. You need to give those details. You need to write it. You want edge distances, okay, from center line of column to the outside of seating, it should be 600 mm. I want 500. Mention that. Write it down. Later on, you made complete set of drawing, assuming that it is 600 mm. Somebody will say, sir, नहीं यहाँ पे तो जगह है ना, 450 कर लो. You will have to redraw every drawing, and you will end up wasting at least 3-4 days time. Why you want to do that? Write it down and take approval on this document. Whoever are stakeholders, if you have 10 people in a company approving it, let all 10 of them see that, discuss it. You want to make 100 changes in that, no problem. Once that is frozen, I am not going to come back to you. I am not going to ask you even what I do. You will straight away get tender in your hand. Then it is my responsibility to ensure that I adhere to those things. Right? Next is extent of canopy that you want. Okay. Now, very common thing. I want 4.5 meter wide canopy. People say this. When you model it in STAD, you model it from center line. So how much from center line to the edge of canopy is how much? You want 4.5 meter, whether you want it clear from seating, whether you want it clear from civil wall, whether you want clear from steel column. Please specify those things. Write it down that I want it from here to here, I want this dimension. Either make a small sketch, give it to them, or write it down. That will avoid many confusions. Now, for example, I'll tell you, very commonly we use center line to seating distance as 750. Okay, 4.5 meter I want clear. So I will write that I want from center line of column to end of canopy 5.25. If I don't say, and if he has modeled 4.5, your entire design will change the moment I ask you to make it 5.25. All your support reactions will change. All your base plates will change. All your foundations will change. For what? Just because I did not mention that 0.75. Please write down. Each of these things, you can note down also if you want, you can take photograph also, but please, in your specifications, mention these things very clearly. That will help you. Mezzanine floors. Again, extent of mezzanine floor. That means from which grid to which grid you want. If it is something between 2 grid, it is terminating from this so many meter from this grid. This grid to so many meter from this grid. Write it down. Later on, people will not be able to tell you, no, I told you to provide 4 bays. Why you have provided 3 bays? Who told you 3 bays and all? If it is verbal, you will have this type of problem. If you document it, if it is written, there is no ambiguity. There is no change. It will really help you if you write down each of this. You also have to give clear requirements. Below mezzanine, how much clear distance, clear height you want. Ask architect. How much do you want? You want 4 meter, I'll write down 4 meter. You want 3 meter, I'll write 3 meter. Whatever you want, tell me, I'll write that. Once the design is done, they'll come up, no, मेरा इसमें duct नहीं निकल रहा है. इसको कम करो यार. Beam. That means I'll have to redesign entire mezzanine floor. Just because somebody has not noted down. And again, I'll keep saying again and again during this presentation, architects will not be able to visualize this. Don't expect that. It's only structural engineer who is designing will know कि सर ये आप पहले बताओ कितना चाहिए आपको, मैं उसके हिसाब से बीम का डेप्थ देता हूँ. आप बाद में बताओगे वो बैठेगा ही नहीं, डिजाइन में ही नहीं बैठ रहा, मैं क्या करूँ? So write down. Writing specification is most important activity that is to be done. Then you have building notch. Now all buildings may not be exactly rectangular, so you will have some part cut out that there is no building in this area. Write down. Write down. See, these are the areas where normally people do revisions. नहीं सर वो मेरा बिल्डिंग लाइन के उधर था तो अभी वहाँ पे जगह है तो थोड़ा मैंने बढ़ा दिया. आपने बढ़ाया, fine, perfectly all right. I'll have to redesign it. Please give me enough time to do that. Right? If it is documented, they have signed that document. They cannot go back. They can sign it only if you create it. Okay, then lean-to sheds. You will have maybe some toilet outside. So it's a small shed that you want. It doesn't come free of cost to you. PEB vendor is going to charge you money. If you specify in the beginning only, it is estimated exactly, they are charging you exactly. No revision required. Later on you ask, they'll have to weld it. The first question comes, sir, can I weld this? Why you want to, I mean, you are creating beautiful structure, why you want to spoil it yourself? Please foresee it, write it down. Some future provisions you can keep. That I would like to have this mezzanine future provision. I may construct this mezzanine 5 years down the line. You keep provision, leave drilling holes and all those things, leave it there. You design for that much extra load. It costs hardly anything. But in future, you don't end up spoiling the building. Okay. Next one is solid partitions, as I said. You have to specify how much height of brick wall or civil wall you want, or you want sitting to go up to bottom. If you want sitting, where is the location of sitting? Is it on left side, it is on right side, or it is at the center? Specify that. Make a small sketch and give it. Or put it in that DBR. That I want it like this. This is a grid mark, I want cladding to be on this side. Or I want cladding to be at center. Now cladding at center and cladding outside will have a huge tonnage difference. Take my word, it has a big tonnage difference, because in one you are using continuity of purlin, in second other one you don't get continuity of purlin. It costs them a lot of money. When they ask for money, you will not like it. You will say, sir, क्या फर्क पड़ता है, मैंने यहाँ से वहाँ ही तो किया है. But it is costing. So if you write it down, there is no way things are going to change. It is accurate, it is perfect. Then there are special treatments which I think he has gone out. I have already answered that, fireproofing and all. If you want any such special treatments, please mention that in your specification. I would like to have this. If you are saying that I want intermittent paint, please write it. It's extremely expensive thing, and if you don't specify it accurately, your cost may go completely haywire, or you may end up paying exorbitant money and not getting anything out of it. So please specify each of these things accurately. The whole presentation is about what all things must be specified and to what accuracy. If you are specifying intermittent paint, what is the thickness of intermittent paint you want? Very common mistake which people make is, sir, I want 2 hours fire rating, rest आप decide कर लो कितना देना है. आप क्यों decide करोगे भैया? Who is the engineer of this project? Please take ownership, get details from paint manufacturers, call them. They'll give you all the details that you want. And write those things. Tell contractor, I want this. Please give me this. And you should be confident in giving that. Confident in telling that. No, this is only required, boss. Don't try to teach me. I know technically what is required. Because it is that way, right? You cannot expect contractor to be expert engineers. They are contractors. They can execute at site. They are expert executors. They are not expert designers. You are expert designer. Please write it and please own responsibility. Yeah.
Sometimes what happens, we give some strict specification that goes only to specific vendors.
Right?
So then somebody may tell us that we are biased towards a vendor because
be biased.
only so we have to go by minimum standard. That is the set criteria, let's say, and who gives a better product within the budget, we choose after that. So that is the normal way. Now, if I have to give a bit a stricter or a more accurate or let's say more better
So you
specification.
can write three options. I
Yeah.
want. I am okay to have paint from Asian Paints or
Yeah.
Nerolec or Berger. All three are equally good, but my technical specification of paint remains this.
Yes.
I want synthetic enamel, I want PU paint, I want primer, I want epoxy based primer.
Yeah.
My epoxy based primer will have each coat thickness of 30 micron, and I want 2 coat of that. I want finish paint of 70 micron. Write down those things. Then you can give options to them. You can buy from any one of this. I am okay. I don't want to be biased. You can buy steel from Tata, you can buy steel from Jindal, you can buy from AMNS. I am okay. They all deliver quality. I'm okay. Whoever gives you cheaper, go ahead and buy from them and pass on that value addition to me. But you cannot go to a re-roller,
Yeah.
buy a substandard quality and then try to convince me. No, I don't want that. I have written down a specification. Please read. I have written a detailed material specification that it has to be prime quality material made from fresh billets only. That's it. Now you go and procure that. Who is giving you that? And I have written approved makes also. Approved makes are 1, 2, 3, 4. You take any one of them, I am okay. I am happy. And normally we ask all PEB vendor to supply their make list before they start designing. You submit your quality assurance plan and you submit your make list. For every item there is a make list. Wherever I feel that no, I'm not happy with this supplier, I have used their material, I'm not happy with their service or their quality, please strike it off. I am not accepting this, I can accept rest all. So that approved make list in the beginning is signed off. No material to be rejected after it is fabricated. Just imagine situation
Actually,
of those steel suppliers.
We give it in upfront that these are the
Yes.
makes that we have approved. You can use from these only.
Yes, that's it. So we adhere to that. That's it. You supply anything from this, I am okay.
Sometimes some product would be on holiday list. If the performance was not good, we put them in holiday list.
Holiday list. Abhi, I'm not accepting. Maybe when they improve on it, we'll take it back.
For some time.
We can do that, or sometime product from all the makes are not available. For example, you want ISA 5056, you have written approved make as SAIL, Jindal, Tisco. None of them makes it. So what do I do? That time you will have to use your discretionary power. There will be conditions, there will be situations where you will have to use your, but the authority and responsibility of approving that lies with structural engineer, not with PEB vendor. Both, you have authority to do it, it is your responsibility to choose correct product. You cannot say, अरे ठीक है PEB वाले choose कर लेते हैं ना, and then later on start complaining, नहीं नहीं sir ये तो substandard ये नहीं चलेगा. That is not right. I mean ethically that is not acceptable.
Even crane is an issue. UOT.
Same thing. You will have to use, the engineers have those discretionary powers. They can say कि sir, though it was not specified, we would like to have only this. If there is price implication, let me know. Before you proceed, let me know. But try to minimize those occurrences. Lesser the occurrences, faster is execution. It's in everybody's advantage. That's the whole idea of writing specifications. That's the whole idea of mentioning what all that may come in a steel building that you may have to specify. And You may please specify those things correctly. Don't give wind load as per IS 875 part 3. Now there are 8 different parameters, and 8 parameter has 10 or 15 different values. So there are, if you see permutation combinations, you may have 200, 300 possible, he may choose any one of them. Why you want to argue later stage? You know what is correct value. Write it down and own responsibility. See, telling that nahi nahi IS 875 बाकी आप choose कर लेना is running away from responsibility, or you don't know. You yourself don't know how to calculate wind load. So don't do that. Why you want to show that you don't know? Really, if you don't know, learn it from somebody. There is no stopping. Even your professor, your college professor, after 30 years also will teach you, I am sure. He'll tell you that no, do it this way. Right? So these are geometry, then these are load specifications. Each of this you have to write separately and very clearly, categorically. Dead load, yes, everyone knows dead load is self-weight, that you need to consider. Self-weight, when I calculate, the self-weight of roof will come to 12 kg per meter square. When you calculate, you will calculate 15 kg per meter square. What should I consider? That 3 kg per meter square will, in totality, make 10 ton difference in your project. 10 ton is 10 lakh rupees. So, just because you don't want to calculate that self-weight yourself, or you don't want to put that 10 minutes effort, you will end up spending 10 lakh rupees extra. In
Large percentage of the fees itself.
exactly, your fee may be less than that. Right? So you need to give this to your customer. It is your responsibility and authority both. Please do it. Please write those things categorically. If you see any of my tender, all these items will be written exact. Self-weight to be considered for purlin design 10 kg per meter square, for portal design 15 kg per meter square. Now why it is changing? Because self-weight of purlin gets added to that when I am designing portal. And when I am designing purlin, it is not to be added, because then dead plus wind is governing. Otherwise dead plus live may govern. So I write those things specifically. Dead load for purlin design 10 kg per meter square, dead load for portal design 15 kg per meter square, plus self-weight of portal. That you don't have to calculate, because STAD will automatically incorporate that. Now when you are taking self-weight of any particular member in STAD, please add for connections. STAD don't add connections. Now your connections may be 15, 17%, 20%. So we always say self-weight command, self-weight minus 1.2, not minus 1. Write it down in your specifications. You know that this is to be done, but you have not written in specification. PEB vendor will say, sir, I will not do it. If you want me to do it, effect of 15 ton, 10 ton, 20 ton, please pay for that, and I will do it. Right? So please write those specifications accurately. Dead load, then live load. Live load on roof, live load on various mezzanines, first mezzanine, second mezzanine, third mezzanine, everything will have different live load depending upon use of that mezzanine. For office floors, it may be 400 kg per meter square. For storage space, it may be 500 or maybe 1 ton per meter square. You need to mention that. Live load in toilet area is only 200 kg per meter square. Write down. Tell that this is toilet area, in this area take only 200 kg per meter. Now in toilet area you want to provide raised slab. So there is extra weight of concrete. Write it in dead load. Mention that this area is toilet, we will have more dead load in that. Please make provisions for that. And in that area live load gets reduced. Right? So if you write it more accurately, you will get accurate result and you will get better designs without wasting time. Next is collateral loads. These loads are mainly because of services, mainly, or many times we have a practice of putting crane load as a part of collateral load. That helps me in reducing number of load combinations. You can take those judicious decisions. Collateral load is part of, collateral load is separate. Your services load goes in collateral load. Crane load also can go in that load. Otherwise, for every crane load combinations, you will have so many permutation combinations. Reduce running time instead, if it is possible. Somewhere it may not be possible, because if you have say 100-ton crane, then crane load combinations may, you can reduce load other loads by 15%. Dead plus, live plus, collateral plus crane, then you can reduce other loads. And if you put it in crane, you don't, I mean collateral load, then you don't get that option of reducing. Now in 5-ton or 10-ton crane, it may not matter, but if it is 100-ton crane, it may matter. So then you have to specify crane load separately. Right, so we will also have those load combinations. Now, load combinations should be in accordance with the standard that you are using. Again, dead load, live load, call it, all the loads that you are writing should be as per particular code which you want to follow. You want to design building as per AISC, write down all loads as per AISC, including wind load. I am repeating, including wind load. Many people have a practice of saying, sir, wind load तो Indian standard से लेना पड़ेगा, बाकी सारा हमने American standard से ले लिया है. You will have, if you do that, I'm telling you, you will have to engineer your load combinations. Because AISC have now increased the wind load intensity, PZ. They have increased PZ, and when you go to combinations, that 1.5 factor or 1.6 factor is now changed to 1.0. So if you calculate wind load as per Indian standard and then take load combination of AISC, you are under designing it. Understood? Please, when you are playing with two different codal provisions, be very, 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 very careful. You must have complete fundamental knowledge of each of them. Otherwise, take my word, you will either over design or under design it. This is super critical. I am telling you, today 75% of consultants in India are making this mistake. They will happily tell you we need to take wind load as per Indian standard. Rest all you can follow AISC, and you are 100% under designing that structure. Because they don't change load combinations. If you do that, change load combinations. Right? So please specify those things accurately. When you are specifying wind load, specify each parameter. Now K1, you can take one, you can take 0.992 or something. Somebody will take 0.7. Sir, 5 साल का ही है, ये तो temporary structure है. Even if you take 0.9, and there is a difference between 1 and 0.9 is 20%. It goes to square of it. 20% reduction in wind load straight away, because you have not specified. They use 0.9. 20% reduction. Sir, ले लो project, मैं 20% मेरे जेब में, risk आपका है. Please specify those things. Then you will be able to have apple to apple comparison. You don't specify and then start blaming PEB vendor. नहीं ये तो बहुत जोल जमाल करता है, ये बहुत गलत करता है. It's your mistake. You are blaming someone else. Right? So be careful when you are writing those things. Seismic load, same thing. Exactly same situation. AISC has higher seismic loads and lesser in load combinations. That 33% allowed and all, they have considered that in calculating individual load, not in load combination. So again, if you are calculating seismic loads as per Indian standard and then applying AISC load combinations, you are under designing it. Please be careful when you are doing this mix and match. Not only that, when you are specifying any building, find out which location, what is the soil condition, what type of structure it is, what is the importance factor. Write down each parameter. You will also use that in your design, and please mention those parameters accurately. Give it to PEB vendors, they will give you accurate quotation. You ask them to revise thrice, first and second revision will be okay. Third revision, they will not do it only. They will stop working on your project and you will start getting complete haywire quotations. Because it's cost for them. It's money for them. Though they are offering it free of cost to you, it is money for them. So at some point of time, if you irritate them more, you are going to be in trouble. Please understand and write those specifications accurately. We have temperature load. Many people don't specify temperature loads, or they don't know only that under certain circumstances the structure needs to be designed for temperature loads. You have temperature variations, right? Where will that go? Those stresses will have to be captured somewhere. So it's huge. Believe me, those Rafale hanger which I showed you, majority of members were governing in temperature stresses. Majority of them, because they are large span, 25-meter unsupported span for crane girder. 100% it is going to govern in temperature. Take my word. So if you specify, they will check it. Applying temperature load is no effort. Really, I mean, it takes not even 2 minutes to apply temperature load. But if you tell them, they will apply. You forgot to tell. They have not applied, and then you blame that, sir, आपने ये apply कर लेना चाहिए था ना. It is your error. It is designer who has to own responsibility. They cannot run away from their responsibility. They better don't run away.
And the minimum
People,
and maximum variation
yes,
to decide how much variation
correct.
is
So
allowed during the day.
during the day, normally my way of seeing temperature load is minimum temperature at which you will do erection and maximum temperature at which you will do erection, or minimum temperature in that area if you take, then maximum temperature at which you will do erection, and minimum. So one is actual, one is design. Okay, now if I am constructing in say Leh Ladakh, okay, temperature goes to -5, but can I do erection in -5? No. So temperature stresses don't apply. That is उधर पड़ा है, उस पे temperature stresses कुछ है नहीं. It is open. It is allowed to expand and contract. Once it is erected, then temperature stresses apply. So when you are erecting it and when you are fixing nut bolt, that's the temperature, because then you are making it rigid. At that time, even if it is 10 degree, I doubt whether anybody will do erections in 10 degree temperatures. It may be really difficult for workers to do it. Similarly, at 50 degree temperature, if you ask them to do erection, it's inhuman. You better don't ask. Right? Maybe 40 degree, yes, workable. And on minimum side, maybe 15 degree. Right? So 15 to 40, that's 25 degree temperature. Cool. Good enough. That's good enough. That's normal range. Right? So 15 से नीचे नहीं जाने वाला है, 40 से ऊपर. आपने इरेक्शन मैंने 15 से किया, वहाँ से 20 नीचे गया तो भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगा, वहाँ से 20 ऊपर गया तो भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगा. That's how you should specify temperature range. Right? Then crane load. Now this needs to be defined very, very, very accurately. It has a huge impact on tonnage. You must give wheel load, wheel base distance. How many cranes are going to operate in that particular building? Common over design done by majority of engineers, I'll tell you, majority of engineers is, they'll calculate some point load coming from crane beam to the column. That will have vertical as well as horizontal component. That load is applied to all the frames. Right? That much horizontal load can never come on all frame. Correct? And that has impact when you are calculating seismic forces. Try doing it more accurately and see how much tonnage you are saving. Please write down.
So one question was that when we are doing the moving load analysis, so in that vertical and horizontal, if we apply both, that will travel along with the vertical only, where the
Yes.
wheel will start
Correct.
at that point. So we do that moving load analysis and find out the maximum position where the
Maximum
it will
moment.
be there. So not on all frames, the maximum effect due to this on which position it is actually happening. So is that the way to do it, or some
I'll
other?
tell you what we do is we analyze crane beam separately. We don't model it the same stat file. It is in separate stat file. That helps me in many ways. Number one, my number of load combination comes down drastically. So main stat file runs much faster. I can optimize crane beam much better. Then whatever reaction I get from crane beam, I apply on column. Now when I'm applying those reactions to column, the horizontal reaction is applied only to braced base. To unbraced bay, we don't apply those horizontal reaction at all. Fine, it takes care of that. Now, I ensure that all columns are of same size. I don't want to provide smaller column because it can come on that column.
The individual effect that it should
Yes.
not hamper the stability or
Yes.
deflection.
Yes.
One is the total will go to brace bay only.
Brace bay only.
Yeah.
So I'm capturing both. I'm capturing both. As long as I'm providing uniform column size, it's designed to take that load, and I'm not applying that to all the columns. Otherwise, you are giving minor excess moment. You are giving minor excess moment to the column, and your column sizes will go haywire.
What happened that the vendor did the design, they did it for the braced bay, but they did not check the individual column.
That
So-
should be done. That must be done. So that's what I'm saying. I will provide same column size everywhere. And I will, when I give base plate detail also, I will say that this is base plate detail for all of them. That is engineering decision which I can take. I mean, it's so simple and easy to take. And that does so much work for me. All my load combinations are saved. I'm not making structure unnecessarily heavy. I'm saved so many things. So yes, that suits me. So this type of engineering decision will have to be taken. Stat Pro is not engineering. I mean, it does not have a brain. Brain has to come from structural engineer, cannot be from Stat Pro, any other software for that matter. Software cannot have a brain. It can have artificial intelligence. We have natural intelligence, not artificial. We have much better intelligence, always. Use it. Any other load that customer wants. Customer might say, I want maintenance platform all along crane length. You have to capture it somewhere. Customer says, I want to make a provision of suspending 100 kg load from anywhere in the building. From wherever I like, I will suspend. So all your purlin should be designed for 100 kg point load. All your portal needs to be designed for that 100 kg point load. You will have to capture that. That's customer requirement. So please design for that.
Solar panels.
Solar panel loads, I'll tell you, we consider solar panel load to be part of live load. If you are specifying live load as 75 kg per meter square, we write live load 75 kg per meter square into bracket inclusive of solar panel load. Reason being, where you provide solar panel, you cannot have live load. Right, so compensate. Don't provide double. People write 75 kg live load, 40 kg solar panel load, 50 kg. उसके ऊपर आप कॉन्फ्रेंस करो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. It is so heavily designed. You have wasted steel, immense waste of steel, and steel is national property. Please understand, today we are getting as much steel we want, tomorrow you may not get it. The way it is happening with coal, the way it is happening with oil, tomorrow these are natural resources, you will not have it. So don't waste. Use it as much as required. Don't waste it. Okay, then load combinations I have already explained to you. Don't do mix and match. If it is as per Indian standard, everything as per Indian standard. If it is AISC, everything as per AISC. There is nothing wrong in using any international standard. As long as that standard is written by particular country, there is no problem. I will not accept MBMA because that is written by some association. It is not written by country. If government of Australia has written some standard, I will accept it. But some association in USA, no. If government of USA has written some standard, it has to be valid, yeah. Why will government do it wrong? So that is okay to adapt, but mix and match. Whatever suits me from American standard, whatever suits me from Indian standard and all, then you are risking, then you are definitely risking. सब आएगा, आपको इंश्योरेंस ही नहीं मिलेगा, इंश्योरेंस नहीं मिलेगा सबसे पहले. At सवेरे ही FM Global, one guy was there, and I got opportunity to talk to him. He says we are now trying to be more aggressive because they are insurance people, so their guideline will be very heavy. Now, American standard says live load should be 57 kg per meter square. FM Global will say you have to design for 100 kg per meter square. I say why? Who the hell are you to tell me that design for 100? You are insurance guy. You have vested interest in making it heavy. I will not listen to that. You get in line with any international standard. I am okay.
Just to raise the premium.
Correct. Not premium. Just to avoid giving claim. I will say.
That's the way they make it a non.
Correct. So, but you cannot do that. You are doing illegal work. Then I will tell my customer, don't go with these guys. They are illegal. I have way to prove it that look, this is American standard. American government has written it. They are saying, no, you make double heavy. Why should anybody pay for that? मैं दूसरा बिल्डिंग के बना लूँगा ना, इंश्योरेंस की क्या जरूरत है? सिंपल एज दैट. अगर मुझे पहले ही डबल पैसा डालना है तो इंश्योरेंस क्यों चाहिए? अरे वो गिर गया ना, निकाल दो, स्क्रैप में बेच देना, नया बिल्डिंग खड़ा कर दो. है आपने उतना बचाया था पहले. Right, so those are specific requirement from customer. We need to honor that and specify. What's the time? I am running out of time now. Standards to be followed. I said you must mention this in your specifications. Which standard you want to follow? You want to follow AISC? Write down. Now many people just write, please design as per AISC. And PEB vendors are very happy to design as per AISC standards written in 1989. Those standards are obsolete about 30 years back. In 2004, 2010, 2016, 2020, 2022, so many versions after that. Because you have not written it, they will use any version of the standard. If you are PEB vendor, I will say, please don't do that shady thing. Please use latest version of whichever applicable standard. Whether it is Indian standard, American standard, British standards, German, whatever you use latest version of that standard. Don't try to cut corners in those things. It's not only risky, that's absolutely unethical practice. Should not be done, but if you are a structural engineer, it's your duty to write correct specifications. Don't run away from that. If you don't know, go and ask people which is the latest standard, which is the latest version. Write it down. By that way, at least you will create a common platform amongst all. You may make error. The latest is 2022, you have written 2010 to be considered. Fine, but that's error is uniform to all PEB vendor. You are not creating differentials. A good PEB vendor will come back and say, sir, ये आपको change करना चाहिए, ये correct नहीं है. They may tell you, verify and incorporate those errors. There is nothing wrong. If I don't know, I don't know. Let me learn. Right? So please write down those things. Design considerations are as per what standard? As I told you, if you are taking loads from AISC, follow design also from AISC. Because they have also done similar thing with allowable stresses and all. They have increased the value of FY or UTS and then reduced it here. So use one thing. Don't try to do mix and match. You will get lost. For welding, you need to specify what type of welding standard you want, what quality of welding you want, what is size of weld you want. Write in your specification whether you want welding on both sides of web or on one side of web. If you want both sides, what is root thickness of weld? For what length you want it? Do you want continuous weld? You want staggered weld? Write it down. And if you don't know, ask somebody how to write it, but don't welding as per AWS.
There was a one case. So I asked the person who was doing this work in the shop. So I asked him what is the weld size that you are using. So they said 0.75 of the plate thickness. So
Okay.
that they say that this is a
That's all.
standard we use, but he did not know from which standard that had come, and neither anywhere it was mentioned that what should be the size of the weld.
It is, no, it is mentioned in AWS. I'll tell you, for particular thickness of plate, there is a minimum size of weld that you need to provide. That is, there is a standard for that, number one. Number two, you can calculate, you can design weld. It's not impossible. You know what is maximum stress that is developed in weld. And you know for particular root thickness what is a permissible shear stress. 0.4 into 250. I can tell you my thumb rule, which I have developed over years, is 6 mm weld, 1 each can take 1 ton. You can calculate that. And then based on that, I can do permutation combinations. I can tell people. For normal structural work, normal rafters and all, 20-25 meter tak ka span and all, 3 mm fillet weld on both sides of web should suffice. That's thumb rule. Again, this, I mean, for normal condition, this will work. But you need to specify that. Cost of production, if it is 4 or 5 mm thick, the moment you write 5 mm thick, they'll have to have 2 run of weld. Every time they have to lift that, put it back, then again it will do welding. So double time of fabrication, double effort of fabrication, double consumables, double handling and all, they will charge you double. If their fabrication cost is 20 rupees, moment you write 5 mm continuous weld, they'll charge you 40 rupees. If that vendor is knowledgeable. If he is not knowledgeable and if he accepted at the previous one, either he will have to accept losses or he'll start cribbing at a later age. Sir, ye nahi ho paega. In all event, project will suffer. Even if he is losing money, he will delay. It's very obvious. So all these things, just because you should have mentioned thickness, you have not mentioned it, and then you get into fight with people. So avoid that. Please write down each of this on piece of paper. Let your superiors, your counterparts, your customer, all of them go through that and approve it. Once that is documented, people cannot go back and demand something else. Then various materials to be used. If you want plates to be as per IS 800 or ASTM standard or some other standard, whatever you want, you have authority to buy whatever you want, but say so. Whether you want banyan or t-shirt, how the other guy will know? You need to say, I want t-shirt like this. So please write down. This is there are so many things that needs to be written when you are dealing with structural steel building. Unlike in RCC. RCC you have specified M30 grade concrete, FE 500 reinforcement. Minimum criteria is this as given in 456. That's it. You are good to go, people cannot manipulate. Here that's not the case. Too much of manipulation is possible. There's too much flexibility, so please write down. Please choose right standard. In the morning I was seeing Mr. Deshmukh's presentation. He's saying 15% cheaper, 25% cheaper. Yes, AISC will give you lesser steel consumption because of few provisions which AISC has and Indian standard don't have. At the same time, in my this topic beginning, I said there will be two different type of customer. One who wants cheaper project, one who wants quality stuff. So take judicious decision. What type of customer is that? He is building his own factory. He wants to use it for next 50 years. He'll say, sir, मैं 50 करोड़ anyway खर्च कर रहा हूँ. 50 का 52 करोड़, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. बट आप मर्सिडीज बना के दो मुझे। किसी को मैं कोई भी यूरोपियन को लेके आऊँ तो वो बोलना चाहिए कि ऐसा प्लांट तो यूरोप में भी नहीं है बॉस, वैसा प्लांट आप बना के दो। तो यू शुड राइट स्पेसिफिकेशन लाइक दैट। और वेयर हाउसिंग वाले को, अरे बॉस मेरे पास 2 रुपया नहीं है, मैं तुमको चाय भी नहीं पिलाता हूँ। दे विल यूज दिस टर्मिनोलॉजी, मैं तुमको चाय भी नहीं पिलाता हूँ, नहीं है मेरे पास पैसा, पैसा मत उड़ाओ। They'll use this kind of words, and you have, see, they are your customer. What he is saying is true because he is not getting that much money outside. His business is so competitive. Please accept what customer is saying and write specification accordingly. Don't waste his money. It's our duty. He's paying fees to do that. We must do it. Now there are specific design requirements which you need to mention, which you need to clarify. For bracings, in the morning he was saying just provide just provide portal bracings and all. Portal bracing may not be true, may not be the right solution always, because portal bracings will give you heavier deflections. If you have crane inside, you will need cross bracings. Otherwise, your columns will move in minor axis. So in that case, you will have to shift your openings so that it don't get into breast bay. Bracing will be required. You have to educate this to architect. They are not structural engineers. They will not understand effect of it. You have to tell him that, look boss, if you do this, tomorrow your crane movement will create a lot of noise. Because column is deflecting. If column deflects, it creates friction between wheel of crane and the crane rail, and you will have trouble. Don't get into that. Just shift your door in the next bay. So easy to do. You can do it, right? Or I will shift bracing. If it is possible, shift bracing. But don't get into that portal bracing suddenly because architect insists. Architect would love to have no bracings. Sometimes they'll say, I don't want to see any bracing. Sometimes they'll say, no, provide cross bracing. It looks very good. I want to highlight that.
No column also, sir.
Right?
No column also.
So, see, for them, look is a criteria. For you, stability is a criteria. And both are important. But if you are good engineer, you should be able to convince architect. If he is good architect, he'll convince you. Whoever is more knowledgeable will convince the other guy. So become more knowledgeable.
इंजीनियर बात नहीं करते,
नहीं बोलो,
करना चाहिए.
करना चाहिए. As I was mentioning when we were discussing yesterday, some customer he says नहीं सर ये नहीं चलेगा, सर वो नहीं चलेगा, यहाँ से ये हटा दो, नहीं चाहिए हमको. बोला एक काम करो, मैं सब हटा देता हूँ, आप हेलीकॉप्टर खरीद लो, उसी से पूरा सस्पेंड करके रख लो. मेरी ज़रूरत नहीं है, फाउंडेशन की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है, जाओ. थोड़ा होता है ऐसा, आप बोलोगे कि यहाँ से ये हटा दो, वहाँ से वो हटा दो, बाद में वहाँ पे कोई कंधा दे के खड़ा रहेगा क्या? कैसे खड़ा रहेगा वो? खड़ा तो रखना है ना आपको. And you want to do it right. I don't want to screw up the project. What I am doing is in interest of the project. I am not going to get extra fees because I am putting a column here. I am doing what is technically right. And yes, if I have made an error, if I have provided bracing where it was not required, it was wrongly put by me, then I should be sporty enough to accept that error and remove it. There is no ego hassle in that.
And in the West, the bracings are now colored.
Yes, separately.
They colored with red or other
Yes.
color and make it prominent.
That's what I'm saying. Someday architect will say, come, नहीं sir, वो single leg नहीं, cross बनाओ, it looks very good. रोड मत डालो, रोड अच्छा नहीं लगता है सर, स्क्वायर ट्यूब का बनाओ. Square tube looks very good. So someday they want it, someday they don't want. But you have to accept. Wherever required, I need it. Wherever not required, sir, I'm removing it. Right? So these are specific requirement which you need to specify in your technical specifications. I want particular type of bracings. When you are designing bracing as tension member, slenderness ratio should be this. If you design as compression member, slenderness ratio should be this. The bracing is to be made in particular grade of steel. If you want to follow chapter 12 of IS 800, all bracing have to be 250 grade only. No 315, 345 grade is not accepted. You need to write it down.
Just to be more mild and ductile.
Yes.
Should absorb.
Yeah, it is written in IS code. It is written, and you want to follow that, right? So what's wrong in mentioning it? And when you make your estimate, please follow that, so that they are getting paid for it. They will not be able to argue. सर आप देख लो, मेरा स्टैट फाइल में भी है, मैंने डिज़ाइन किया था, मैंने आपके साथ शेयर भी किया है, मेरे स्पेसिफिकेशन में भी लिखा है, और उसका क्वांटिटी भी मैंने आपको दिया है. You are getting paid for that, please supply. But if you don't mention it, there are chances that they will design with 345 grade and road. It will be difficult for them to procure those roads, but they somehow procure EN8 grade roads from somewhere, and they will say, sir, ye lo 345 laga diya road, khatam. And you don't want it that way. So if you, whatever you want, specify. Okay, next is seg roads. This is one item, I'll tell you, 90% of the PV vendor, I have argued with them. I always mention this in my specifications. The seg road, should seg road govern in slenderness ratio or not? Should it be checked for slenderness requirement or not? It should be, number one. Number two, is it tension member or compression member? All right, it is a tension member to be checked for slenderness ratio. So permissible slenderness ratio will be 400. 12 dia seg rod, which is normal standard by any PV vendor, I can give you without any checking is failing in slenderness, irrespective of what it. All of them is failing. And you can see with your naked eyes that ये तो seg हो गया है. Seg rod is not doing any job. तो क्यों provide? या तो मत करो. अगर देना है तो give strong enough so that it does its job. The next available is 16 dia. 12 dia to 16 dia is double the weight. So if your seg rod is weighing 10 ton, they will have to put 10 ton extra to get 16 dia. So they will say, sir, मेरे पास punching machine नहीं है, I can only provide 12 dia, क्योंकि मेरे पर्लिन में पंच करने के लिए मेरे पास टूल नहीं है. Very common argument, they think that it is checkmate. आपके पास अभी वो मशीन नहीं है तो वो क्या करेगा सर, यही सब. If you write it down, भैया अगर तेरे पास 16 dia नहीं है ना तो ऑर्डर मत लेना, नहीं तो मैं पर्लिन का स्पेसिंग कम करवाऊंगा. You will have to put so many more purlins. सोच लेना क्या करना चाहते हो. Yes, if you check it, if you have mentioned it in your specification that I am going to check this, boss, I know तुम यहाँ पे चोरी करते हो, I am going to check this, then they know कि यार ये चेक करेगा बाद में फंसने से अच्छा है पहले ही ठीक कर लो. फिर उनके पास 16 dia का पंचिंग मशीन आ जाएगा. You will invariably get it, क्योंकि वो लोग एक्चुअल तो 17 dia का ही पंच करते हैं. उनको भी मालूम नहीं 17 dia ही पंच होता है. सबके पास स्टैंडर्ड टूल है वो पंचिंग जो रोलिंग मशीन आता है पर्लिन के, उसमें साथ में पंचिंग होता है. अगर उसको चाहिए ना 12 का तो सेपरेटली वो डाई बनवाना पड़ता है. बट बिकॉज इट इज 10 ton, दे विल रेजिस्ट. So you need to specify this requirements that I want to check this because of this. It is purely technical. I am not asking anything out of syllabus. This is required, and I can tell you, if any one of you see failure of PEB, if you have seen pictures, you have seen videos and all, 95% or maybe 100% of PEB failures are in minor axis. That means the portal is standing like this, it slept like this. I have never seen major axis failures. Why? Because when you are designing, you are treating purlin as a support. The purlin is strong enough only if seg rods are provided and if seg rod is doing its job, which seg rod has not done. Therefore purlin failed and therefore your portal failed.
Without purlin तो, and it has happened sequence में वो कभी
हर एक जगह पे सर, I'm telling you, everywhere, and I'm telling you exact location. The cause is sag road. Can you believe sag road is causing portal failures? It is happening. I'm telling you. You prove it to me on paper that it is safe. Show it to me. Even purlin is unsafe in slenderness ratio. If you don't provide sag road, purlin is unsafe. कुछ काम का ही नहीं है. उसका any cold form section is very 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 weak in axial forces. कोई कैपेसिटी ही नहीं है उसका एक्सेल फोर्स में. एक्सेल टेंशन थोड़ा बहुत ले लेगा, कंप्रेशन तो कुछ नहीं लेगा.
Only there say when everything is integrated.
यस
In between,
नहीं.
absolutely. अगर इसको prop नहीं करते हैं ना, I know a very big company, I'll not name. उनका बड़ा structure sports का था, Air Force में. They said we'll do it tomorrow morning.
सो जाएगा,
वो चला गया.
सो जाएगा पूरा. आप देख लो, मेरे पास तो 25 वीडियो है.
Exactly that way.
Exactly, I'm telling you this. I have analyzed with so many PV vendor and I insist them, sir, ये मैं accept करूँगा नहीं. I understand seriousness of it. I am proving it on piece of paper. आप अपने design head को भेजना है, जिसको भी भेजना है मैं सिखा देता हूँ. सामने बैठ जाओ आप. This is the cause of failure and I don't want to take chance on my side. आपको नहीं देना है, आप लिखो उसमें कि we insist not to provide and all responsibility is on us. कल को अगर गिरेगा पूरा इंक्लूडिंग फाउंडेशन मैं आपसे वापस करवाऊंगा, इंक्लूडिंग माई कॉस्ट, अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट. मेरा 3 महीना 4 महीना जो वेस्ट होगा उसका रेंट भी आपसे रिकवर कर लूँगा मैं. यू एग्री टू इट एंड करो जाओ आपको जो करना है. यू विल अंडरस्टैंड सीरियसनेस ऑफ इट. इट्स नॉट दैट सिंपल एंड ईजी, राइट? सो यू नीड टू, पॉइंट इज यू नीड टू मेंशन आई नीड दिस, I need this size of sagro. If you mention that, you will get it. If you don't mention, there will be chori. हाँ, एक मिनट, we have mic.
तो पीईबी वेंडर है जो कॉलम डिज़ाइन करते हैं तो उसमें गट्स का यूज़ करते हैं एज अ गट्स मेंबर 1.4 1.5. बट टेक्निकली सर वो तो गट्स जो है ओनली फॉर डेड और विंड के लिए डिज़ाइन करते हैं. तो एडिशनल जो फोर्स आता है गट्स पे वो यूज़ करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए डिज़ाइन में कॉलम?
100% करना है. कॉलम का सी एज पर इंडियन स्टैंडर्ड कॉलम में जो मोमेंट है उसका 3% शुड गो इनटू गर्ट if you want to use that as a stability member for minor axis, right? 3% लोड डाल के चेक कर लो गर्ट में वो कैपेसिटी है कि नहीं है. अगर गर्ट में कैपेसिटी नहीं है तो वो वाई डायरेक्शन में कहाँ से उसको रिस्ट्रेन करेगा. फिर डालो स्ट्रट ट्यूब पूरा. वी हैव पुट इट दैट ड्राल प्रोजेक्ट मोमेंट्स वर सो हाई गर्ट कैनॉट एक्ट, मतलब it do not have capacity to take that 2-3% load. So provide strut tubes then. Calculate it. And onus of calculation is on structural engineer. I never ever accept that PEB vendor as final authority. No. I have equal capability or little more capability. I will check it, and unless until I am convinced, I will not accept. And I don't want to hit you. My intention is not to cause you financial troubles. No. I will show you where to save steel. Don't worry. But do it technically correct. If I have missed it, fine. I missed it. Correction requires so much money. I will accept my error. I'll tell customers, sir, they will have to be paid. But I will not accept substandard design. That's in nobody's interest. Right? Then there are specific requirements for flange braces. Now, I don't know how many people check design of flange brace. You need to check. Again, same slenderness ratio, 2% of the load. I'll tell you, majority of the cases I have seen flange brace as 25 by 25 by 1.2 mm thick or max 1.5 mm thick. What load carrying capacity it has? Nothing. It is invariably failing in slenderness ratios. What's the use of those members? Check them. Before checking, mention that in your specification. That we want flange braces to be designed like this. Please provide like that. Whatever is required is required. Structurally, I don't want to design an unsafe building. Then mezzanine floor members. Now, this is another common error which PEB vendors or many designers make. You design mezzanine floor as composite. So, concrete takes compression, steel takes tension. You have designed composite, so far so good. What happens when concrete is wet? Load of concrete applies to that steel beam, and plus you will have construction load on top of that. People will be moving with concrete trolleys and all, right? Design for that. If you are designing composite beam, ensure that they are safe in wet concrete conditions. Not many people, I can tell you, many people just forget to check this, and I have seen many mezzanine floors sagging because of this. Similar thing, is it?
Yeah, because they took, sorry, the deep girders, the slenderness ratio was managed through the decking slab.
Composite.
Decking slab. अच्छा, थिक डेकिंग स्लैब, जब डेकिंग स्लैब हार्ड हो जाएगा तब आपको मिलेगा ना, तो उसमें उनका गैप हो गया, तो
sag हो गया।
पूरा ग्रीन कंक्रीट में वो entire girder collapsed because the strength of concrete was not yet available.
Sorry.
So
अरे,
that was a big gap between, जो है ना, जो साहब बोल रहा है कि ग्रीन कंक्रीट टील, एक तो है उसका वजन बहुत आ गया और उसका स्ट्रेंथ जीरो था।
हाँ, वो
lateral
it's
कोई
not
हमको
contributing
diaphragm नहीं
anything
मिला
to
ना।
you. Right, so please see those conditions. And again, as I told you, this onus is on you. See, PV vendors will have maybe 100 design engineer in their team. Out of 100, 10 people are experienced, they are aware of these things. 90 of them are junior with 2 years, 3 years experience. They don't know. You are blindly trusting them. Right, so it's on us. We need to do that. Doors and roof monitor. How do you size them? What size of roof monitor throat is required? How much of lower is required? There are equations available on Google also, on net, on many books, in National Building Code. So many places the equations are available for gravity ventilation. Gravity ventilation means you are not giving any superficial force to the air. It is flowing on its own. Hot air moves up. Simple basic principle, hot air moves up, right? So when a fresh air comes in, the air which came in was not hot. When it came in our body contact, it hits up. Moment it gets hot, it moves up and it goes out from roof monitor. Hence, louver, rolling shutter openings, windows, they are all fresh air intake. Air don't exit from there. These are intake, and roof monitor is outlet. Whatever flow of air you want, design this system for that flow. Very few people in PEB industry, entire industry I am telling you, very few people knows fundamental of designing this ventilation system. Even if you go to MEP guys or HVAC guys, many of them don't know how to design this gravity ventilation. हाँ सर, वो तो पीबी वाले बोलते हैं कितना देना है तो हम उतना दे देते हैं। 1 मीटर नहीं, वो आर्किटेक्ट ने बोला था सर 1 मीटर बहुत ज़्यादा लग रहा है, 800 ही देना। हमने 800 दे दिया। करेक्ट, तो वो आपका वॉल्यूम चर्न नहीं होगा, क्योंकि वहाँ से जितना आना था उतना आया नहीं, कम आया। कम आया तो जाएगा भी कम ही, जो आया वही बाहर निकलेगा ना। You are not generating any air inside. You should take sufficient inside and you should push off that much outside. For both, you should have sufficient opening so that it moves. It should not remain stagnant inside. You don't provide outlet, what will happen? For some time you will have inlet, after that it will stop because there is no outlet. So the air is then absolutely stagnant inside. You start feeling suffocated. You start getting suffocated. So you need to design, you need to give those specifications accurately. Next is overhead gutters and downtake pipes. Again, he was mentioning about gutter to be pushed inside or kept outside. You can have siphonic system to be designed by some particular vendor. If cost permits, you can go for that. It's very expensive. If you want to provide PEB system, the normal PEB downtake and overhead gutters, there are equations available in National Building Code. Please read that one page, understand and provide. If you write down, you can calculate that size of gutter required is so much, downtake pipe of so much size, 1 number per column, 2 number per column. If you have mentioned it, PEB vendor has to provide. And if they provide, why you mentioned it? Because you have calculated it, right? Having calculated and known that this is what is required, if they have provided, it will work automatically. Everyone is happy. So calculate and write down in your specification. Don't say, many people don't mention only. They assume that PEB will supply this. So these are gray areas which we need to remove. Then some important design requirements, very typical to every project, is minimum thickness that needs to be followed. Again, if customer wants Mercedes, give him Mercedes. If customer wants warehouse, give him warehouse. So give him what he wants and define minimum thicknesses accordingly. सर आपको 100 साल यूज़ करना है ना, मिनिमम 6 mm यूज़ करो आप. कोरोजन का आपको प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगा 100 साल में भी. आपको 15 साल और वो भी रेंटल पे चढ़ाना है ना, कोई बात नहीं सर 4 mm यूज़ करो, क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है. Like that. So you have to mention that. Slenderness ratio requirements, as I asked, slenderness ratio of sag rod, slenderness ratio of flange braces, slenderness ratio of bracings, slenderness ratio of strut tubes. Write down slenderness ratio for main members even, columns and girders. You need to mention that, right? And if you have mentioned it, you will be able to check it and tell him that no, please follow this. If you yourself don't know, what will you check? Okay, then next is B by T, D by T requirements. This is where main difference between Indian standard and American standard. So if you want to follow American standard, please write B by T, permissible B by T so much, permissible D by T so much. At point, we have also mentioned B by D. Your depth to flange width ratio also should be certain maximum. Don't go beyond that. Many places where I have seen, there was one case where 800 mm deep I-beam with 150 by 6 thick flange plate. 150 by 6 flange and web is 8 mm thick because it is 800 deep. What's the use of that? It's stupidity. But that is optimized. If moment you increase depth, your steel weight comes down. It's optimum. So because I have mentioned B by T, D by T, D by B, slenderness, all these things are mentioned. So at some point, I will catch you. This is not right. You are not following right practice. Then deflection limits. Specifically, if you are dealing with AISC, because AISC don't write specific design limits. Design deflection limits are not given in AISC. Please mention that. Whatever you want, please mention it. Indian standard gives deflection very clearly, but AISC do not have. AISC allows more deflection. Mention that. You want to allow more deflection. For example, for mezzanine beams, Indian standard allows span by 250. You are okay even if it is span by 180. Mention that. If you mention it, they will also design accordingly, and you can say, sir, bachao na steel, mat dalo extra. Right? So mention those things. Then check structural stability in erection condition, the one which I explained to you. Okay, it will fail in minor axis condition. Check structure in that. Check structure in that erection condition, and mention that in your specification. Make sure that PEB designer does it. If you have not written it, he will say, sir, वो आपको पहले बोलना चाहिए था ना, हम लोग कैसे करेंगे, हमारा तो जनरल प्रैक्टिस यही है, कुछ होगा तो हमारा जिम्मेदारी है ना, आप क्यों फिक्र कर रहे हो. Instead of getting into those areas, mention fabrication quality requirements. You want certain quality, you want certain tolerances, fabricated tolerances. You want that I will check 100% of welding. Tell them it is cost for them. Checking is cost for PEB vendor or any steel manufacturer. So if you want to check it, tell them so that they quote accordingly. Later on, don't compromise on it. Right? Then always use latest version of software and codes, which I have already told you. Right? What else do we have? Sorry. This is now about material specifications. What all material specification you need to give. I'll just sit down for. पानी है क्या कहीं पे? नहीं, ठीक है, that's fine. हाँ नहीं मंगवा लेंगे. Okay. So next is about material specifications. The way you have written design specifications, you also need to write those material specifications. You want the design, you have designed with 340 grade, if he is using 250 grade, the design is going to fail. So your design is assuming something. When you are using decking sheet, you have provided secondary member at some span. That's good only if decking sheet has particular specifications. If they don't provide that, the decking sheet is unsafe or my girder also will be unsafe. So please mention it accurately. When you are writing specifications, write yield strength and UTS both. Don't write only yield strength. UTS also has a role to play when you are designing, right? You specify UTS in STAD. So it has a role to play, specify that. Welding requirement, whether it is on both sides or one side, what thickness of weld you want, mention those things. If you want any pre-punch holes, please write down. You want that every column should have 2 pre-punch hole at every 1 meter. Fine, it does not cost you a bomb, but please write. For them to do those holes later on is a big cost. Why get into that? Write down that I will need this, I am writing it in my specification, please supply. Next will be secondary steel, again same requirements. You have to specify galvanizing thickness additionally, material grade, galvanizing thickness, what make you want. I don't want to have those Chinese material, I want this quality. If you have mentioned it, you will get it. Right? The next one is bought out items, ISMB, ISMCs, ISAs. Many of those sections are not manufactured by primary steel manufacturers like SAIL, TISCO, Jindal. So if they are not manufactured by them, who all are other good manufacturers? You can write their name. Then you are buying maybe square tubes and all, you want to be manufactured by these people only. Write down. Cost difference between Tata Structura and another local steel manufacturer may be as high as 10 to 12 rupees per kg. They will use local. Very happily they will use. You don't want that quality. Mention that. There is a lot of price implication also in each one of this. You want roofing sheet. Now, this is a huge area. We have requested Tata Steel to have a separate such workshop on how to choose what roofing sheet to be used and what side cladding to be used. But in general, what type of roofing sheet you want? Whether you want bare galvanum, you want color coated. If it is color coated, what type of color coating it is? Is it RMP, SDP? Is it? There are plenty of them. SDP has 3 or 4 different grade also. Then how much of galvanum coating you want? You want 150 GSM, you want 200 GSM. So all this needs to be mentioned. RMP 150 GSM is the minimum one that is available. You have bare galvanum and you have color coated also, both. Now, if the cost of that is say 500 rupees per meter square, the higher one or probably the highest one is PVDF coated that is available now. PVDF coated would cost you nothing less than 2000 rupees a meter square. So you are talking about 500 to 2000. That variation is available in market. If you don't specify correctly, you will get into some gray area. So please specify those things very specifically. Same thing for side cladding as well. Then we have insulation requirements. See, many times we are structural engineers, we don't know how to choose insulation, what are their properties, what is. If you are not aware, ask someone who understands. Mechanical engineers will normally understand how to design insulation, what thickness is required. Learn from them and specify. There are U value, K values and all. These two things you must specify. You must give minimum thickness and density of insulation. What type of insulation you are using. You can have bubble wrap insulation, rock wool insulation, glass wool insulation. Then what type of lining you want at bottom. In earlier days we used to provide aluminum lining. Now there are so many other WMP is available, WMA is available, so many of them. So each one of those options has a cost attached. Please ask supplier, sir, what is cost difference or what is approximate cost of this? Tell me so that I estimate it accurately and I give orders accordingly. And I write that in my specification so that tomorrow I don't have to fight. Right? Then next is fleshing and downtake pipes. Now this one thing which you need to be careful. Many times Mr. Deshmukh was also saying that the color of gutter and color of downtake pipe is something different from side cladding. Please mention, tell them that I want same color. From distant you won't even make out that there is a downtake pipe there. It should be made from the same material which is used for side cladding. Then you will get that quality. Then finishing material, not of very high importance, but mastic tape, sealant, foam closers, so many of, yeah. You should mention, see, for such small thing, if you use poor quality mastic tape, you are assured of getting leakage after 2 years or 3 years. And it costs what? Nothing. Use the best quality. In entire project, you may use mastic tape of 2-3 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees. 5 का 10 lakh रुपए हो जाएगा, who cares? But then you get the quality that is required. Okay. Next is there are accessories in PV building for which again you need to write specifications. You will have structural steel staircase. Okay. Always give stair layout to PV vendor. I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 vendor don't know how to draw a staircase. They don't know and you are trusting them. Don't do that. You draw staircase yourself, give them the drawing that you please follow this. Don't try to reinvent, please follow this. You will get better results out of it. Now, even when you are drawing it, if you have queries, ask them, sir, आपका वो जो tread है, how do you make that? You make it with checkered plate, you make it with normal 3 mm thick plate. How do you do that? What type of reinforcement you have below? Are you providing angles, channels? What do you do? They will give you those details. But you draw it yourself and give it to them. They will make 100 errors. Take my word, they will make 100 errors. They don't know how to make staircases. So if you draw it, you are saved that pain. You don't get into it. And you will be able to optimize it better than them. You will also have to specify handrailing details. What design of handrail you want. Because that's specific to architect. He'll say, nahi sir, mujhe glass handrailing chahiye with SS post and all. ठीक है भैया. If your customer is paying for it, take it. And put that in specification. They'll supply it. But write down. Toe guard. Many people forget to write toe guard. They will not provide toe guard. Without toe guard, that handrailing has no purpose. It's very expensive item. Write down, you will get it. Cage ladders. You need to provide cage ladders. How many cage ladders is required? If you don't mention, they'll say, sir, आपने नहीं लगाया था, हमने तो 2 assume किया है, 2 देंगे हम आपको. Then cage ladder कौन से location पे लगाना है? In that 180 meter wide building, which I was talking about, cage ladder, if I provide at ridge, which is what I prefer to do normally, it's 5 meter longer. Who will pay for that? So we need to specify each of this item. If it is not specified, then they will have gray area. They'll say, sir, मैं यहाँ पे लगाऊंगा, sir, मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है. I'm making losses. Then if you, in cage ladder, if cage ladder is 12 meter, I don't know how many of you have ever climbed cage ladder for entire 12 meter. Please do it once in your life. Please do it once in your life, and when you are climbing, I guarantee you will remember me. I guarantee that. At around 6 or 7 meters, ये पूरा जाम हो जाएगा. ना नीचे उतरने का स्कोप है, ना ऊपर जाने का स्कोप है, और खड़ा रहने की तो जगह ही नहीं है. I'm telling you, till I turned 50, I used to climb roof of every project. Every project that I have done, I have gone on the roof and I have seen it. So I know what it is to work at that height. It's just 12 meter. I've worked on industrial projects of 40 meter height. I've gone to 40 meter also. I'll go there, I'll go on the top, I'll see what I want to see, come back. You climb 40 meter once. 40 meter by normal standard is 13-story building. At least climb once. You will understand lot of erection problems. And I'll tell you, a normal assumption, cage ladder के steps जो है 200 mm पे रखो या 150 mm पे रखो. It is extremely difficult to climb if those steps are at 200 mm. You should either have 250 or 300. When you climb it, you will understand what I am saying. You provide at 200 and try to climb at 6 meter, you will be completely exhausted. If it is at 250, you may go up to 8 meter. Anyway, you will get tired at that level. So you need to have a platform where you can take little rest before you climb balance. You need to mention that and get that platform. But this you will understand only when you climb that 12.5 meter or 13 meter. Unless you climb it, you will say, ठीक है ना यार, नहीं दिया, मुझे किधर चढ़ना है, जो चढ़ने वाला है वो जाने. They are also human. Don't create such errors. You must provide platform in between. And right size of cage. Size of cage should be not enough for me, but enough for some healthy guy. He should be able to also climb. Na? Some worker who is little healthier should be able to climb. So cage should be sized accordingly. If you don't specify, PB vendor will give you 600 mm. 2 feet dia. ऐसे चढ़ ही नहीं पाएंगे. You need some space around when you are climbing that. It's straight climbing. It's not incline climbing, it is straight climbing. So it's very difficult. Lowers, you need to specify blade, size of blade, profile of blade, what thickness of material you want to use, at what space you have to give that. You give those blades far apart, maybe about 100 mm or so, or maybe 125 mm, and you will have bird problem. You will have pigeons coming inside. Now, whose error is this? It was not known to design engineer as well as to the PB manufacturer. Both of them don't know. And now you have bird nuisance, customer suffers. He has paid to both of you. Specify those things accurately so that you get good ventilation as well as you don't have that nuisance. Right? Then we have roof monitor. I told you, you need to size. Roof monitor will have specific type of cladding. These are common places of leakages. Roof monitor, I'll tell you, if you have leakage in building, it starts from roof monitor. It's mainly because of workmanship. Because nobody can go and see roof monitor inside. It's not only to the person, only to the laborer who did it. Write it correctly, make a correct drawing, that this will not allow any kind of leakages and all. At least you are happy. You are confident that I have done a good job. If it not working, somebody's workmanship error, get it corrected. Then we have framed openings. This is another common area where the estimation goes completely haywire. So what size of framed opening you want? What is the size of shutter that you have? How are you going to mount the shutter drum? Whether you have a beam required there. If that beam is required, have you designed that beam? What is the size of beam? What is weight of that? How many framed opening required per bay? 1 or 2? In total building, how many of them you need? I'll tell you, he was, Mr. Prashant Desmukh was mentioning 240 shutter openings. Each framed opening may be close to about 1 ton if you oversize it. Minimum, I'll tell you, small frame opening, I will go to about 350 to 400 kg. Even if it is 400 kg, for 200 opening, it is 100 ton of steel. 100 ton of steel. Who is going to give you free of cost? They will obviously estimate, and you try and save 100 kg in that. You have easily saved 25 ton of steel.
We also have chimneys some places.
Yes, from roof.
Yeah.
Yes, so supporting arrangement for that. You have to give curb detail so that you don't have leakages from there. See, these details are to be given by the customer. You know how you are doing it. How will they know how to do it? The assumption is they know everything and what they do is right. If they don't do it, we will just blast them. Which is not fair. This is not fair. We have to own responsibility of doing it. Right? Then next we have service line supports. We have discussed brackets to be provided. You provide one extra bracket. I am telling you without even asking anybody. Total weight that you will put maybe about 5 ton, 6 ton, or at the max 10 ton. Provide one extra line. The only brackets. I have not provided any platform between them. I have provided bracket. Tomorrow you want to utilize that, buy those ladders, erect it and use it. You don't have to go and weld new brackets that day. I have made a provision for you. I have taken that load into design. Use it. Whenever you want, use it. For whatever. If you want to hang somebody, hang. I have designed for that. Later on, if you have to do it, just imagine if this hall is filled with everything and they want to erect some brackets here. How will they do it? They'll have to do welding at that height. So they have to empty out that entire area. The welding splitters will fall down, spoil your grid slab. And the one which is welded there will look absolutely ugly. Instead of that, spend little more, make future provisions and keep one extra provision. Okay, then we have transparent sheets. Common area of leakage. We have, at least in my office, we keep redesigning these details. We keep redoing things. We have developed few details and we have tested also. We made a mock-up of that. We sprayed water at very high pressure on that and found no leakages. We have developed some of those details and we normally share that with PEB vendor. I strongly recommend please do that. Whenever you are dealing with steel building and you have to provide transparent sheets, don't rely on some detailer. He may not be an engineer even. Detailer has drawn something that is erected at site and it is leaking for rest of the life. Please check that. Make proper details. Provide those details to them. Tell them to follow it. नहीं सर मुझे यही डिटेल चाहिए आप करके दो मुझे बस. दिस इज टाइम टेस्टेड. मैंने देखा है, इसका मॉकअप भी मैंने बनाया है और मैंने 4 साइड पे लगाया, ये चल रहा है. आप प्लीज यही करो, आप रीइन्वेंट मत करो अभी. That will help you as well as to the PEB vendor. So I think that's all that I have. Yes. Thank you so much. If you need any more, I have only tried to address design and material specifications. There is many more things that needs to be done. There is a lot more to PEB design than what we have discussed today. Maybe I'll try to cover up in next workshop. Today also I have overshot time, in fact. Yeah?
There are a lot of components in
Yes, there's a lot to be done. Lot, this, yes, yes.
लग जाएगा हो जाएगा
नहीं होगा वो.
putting air turbine, louvers, bird proofing for hangers, the hanger doors
Yes,
sag हो जाता है
yes. Hanger door design is a separate subject altogether.
वो तो supplier ही अलग है वो अलग
It's a separate subject altogether. And hanger door वो जो sag हो जाता है ना,
sag हो जाता है
major reason is temperature stresses. अभी आप check करना हो.
हाँ कैम्बर देना कैम्बर मिस होता है
सी कैम्बर दे के तो आप मतलब एक गलती को सुधारने के लिए दूसरी गलती कर रहे हो. यू कुड हैव डिजाइन, अगर वो टेम्परेचर स्ट्रेस डाले होते ना, आपको वहां पे पता चल जाता था कि ये डिफ्लेक्ट होने वाला है.
so many hangers if you go now they complain that वो hanger को अभी खोलता नहीं है
ट्रैक्टर से खोलना पड़ता, ट्रैक्टर से खोलना पड़ता है.
कि बंद नहीं करता है
आई नो, आई नो.
doesn't come back and it costs crores
Yes. So अभी हमने I have designed those hangers, structural design as well as mechanical design. दोनों मैंने किया हुआ है for all the defense hangers that I did. हैंगर को हम बाहर से सस्पेंड करते हैं. हाँ, मेन स्ट्रक्चरल को कनेक्ट ही नहीं करना है.
we have also done that for the Su-30 aircraft hangers
ओके.
Air Force the hanger supporting structure we have taken out of the PVC structure
नहीं,
मतलब बाहर से क्या है
उसकी ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. मतलब मैं जो मेन गेबल एंड आएगा वो एक लेवल तक प्रोवाइड करूँगा गेबल एंड, और उसी को लगा दूंगा सीधा, उसी से सस्पेंड हो जाएगा हैंगर डोर. एंड दोज डोर्स आर वेरी लाइट. दे आर अनलाइक जो हम लोग स्क्वायर ट्यूब वगैरह से जो इंडिया में बनते हैं हैंगर, विच हैंगर डोर्स एंड स्ट्रक्चर बहुत हेवी होता है सर. 150 टन स्टील डालते हैं उसमें. हैंगर डोर डिजाइन में 100 टन स्टील जाता है भाई.
one door was costing us it was a
2 crores.
6 ply opening 2 crores
2 crores.
of course
खाली डोर है 2 करोड़ का.
70 meters square
यस, यस, इट इज रिक्वायर्ड. इफ इट इज रिक्वायर्ड,
it is automatic
ऑटोमेटिक है. वो चलाने के लिए आपको 10 HP की मोटर लगेगी,
मोटर लगा हुआ है
और स्पेसिफाई किया होगा 5 HP लोगों ने. बाद में बोले कि सर ट्रैक्टर लगाना पड़ रहा है. ट्रैक्टर लगाना ही पड़ेगा ना, क्या करोगे आप यार. हाथी बना के रखा है, फिर क्या होगा.
and for after every sortie the Su-30 aircraft will spill the oil it
Oh.
takes 40,000 aviation fuel
हाँ,
it takes 40,000 liter of fuel
हाँ,
when it goes for a sortie and when they come back they do not keep that fuel they drain it
रिमूव इट.
that's why designing the oil trap
हाँ, दैट्स
and then
अनदर
bringing
इम्पोर्टेंट.
the oil in the technical maintenance hanger that itself was a different subject the designing the floor
Yes,
taking all the 40,000 liter oil
out.
it happens twice
There,
thrice
there will be a separate pan.
yeah
The pan area in which it will be drained out, it goes out from the drain, taken back into the storage.
requirement and
Hanger is a subject. Is a subject by itself. So many things to be designed in that.
and lighting itself
Lighting, bird proofing of hanger is the biggest concern, because you have to keep door open, and birds will get in. How do you prevent that? We tried so many things. See, at height of that opening is so much, wind curtain भी काम नहीं करता है, कुछ काम नहीं करता है. तो ऊपर उसको बैठने के लिए जगह ना दो. That's the only way they try doing it. They tried, किसी ने यहाँ पे जेट एरोसा हैंगर है, उसमें पोर्टल को ऐसे बंद कर दिया, बैठने के लिए जगह नहीं बचेगा ना, बस बंद कर दिया. अरे दैट्स नॉट गोइंग टू हेल्प यू. पर्लिन के ऊपर बैठ जाएंगे. पर्लिन को भी बंद करना है आपको. एक एक छोटी छोटी जगह आपको सब बंद करनी है. हाँ, बट आप कितना कितना बंद करोगे. ऐसे ये बंद किया लाइनर पैनल, फिर ये बंद किया, आगे एंड में जाके कहीं पे आपका एक आध प्लेट भी बाहर निकल गया, उसके ऊपर बैठेंगे.
then they will doing all their
हाँ, वो देन जब एंड प्रॉब्लम भी उनका जेन्यून प्रॉब्लम है. इफ दे शिट ऑन engine, that engine is over.
they do not take at aircraft
हाँ, it will cost you crores. Hanger is, but I love doing those kind of projects. Hanger, when I designed first time, Santa Cruz hanger was my first hanger design. And before that, same size hanger was constructed in Goa by someone else, designed by someone else, constructed. That Goa hanger was weighing about 1200 ton, I think. 48 meter by 48 meter, weighing 1200 ton. And the one which I designed was 560 ton or something. So design was sent back. नहीं सर, इसमें कोई गलती है, इतना कम में हैंगर नहीं बनता, कभी भी नहीं बनता, ये गलत है, इसको चेंज करवाओ. Then I checked it because anyway it is vetted by government engineering colleges and all. उन्होंने भी thoroughly देखा, मैंने भी देखा है, सारे ड्राइंग चेक हुए हैं. इतना बड़ा गबला नहीं होगा, 10-20 टन इधर उधर हो सकता है कहीं पे मैनुअल एरर का, बट 600 टन का गबला नहीं हो सकता है. पूरा नहीं है सर, बराबर है, डिज़ाइन भी बराबर है, नहीं है. 3 महीने बाद उन्होंने उसको टेंडरिंग के लिए भेजा. तब तक टेंडरिंग के नहीं, ये चेक करो, वो चेक करो, इंटरनल 10 लोगों को बिठाया. टेंडरिंग के लिए गया, टेंडर रनिंग से वापस फिर से, सर इतने में हैंगर नहीं बनता है, आपका गलत है, ये है. अगेन सेम स्टोरी. चीफ इंजीनियर कॉल्ड मी, अमित जी व्हाई डोंट यू इंक्रीज समथिंग, व्हाई आर यू कीपिंग. सर कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है, आई स्टैंड बाय माई डिज़ाइन, डोंट वरी, लेट देम कोट. उनको बोलो टनेज करेक्ट है, लेट देम चेक इट अगेन. अगर उनको प्रॉब्लम है, सेंड देम टू माई ऑफिस, मैं उनको सिखाता हूँ स्टील कैसे गिनते हैं. मेरा एस्टिमेशन पक्का है. आफ्टर लॉट ऑफ कन्विंसिंग, अल्टीमेटली इट वॉज टेंडर्ड, awarded to somebody, started erection and all those things. When it was over, chief engineer तो कहीं ट्रांसफ़र हो गए थे, but he is now क्या बोलते हैं वो लोग, is absolute top boss, Indian Navy engineering के top boss है वो. He is again now posted in India, Harpal Singh. He is also Paramveer Chakra only, yes. PMV, yes, PMV. Fully decorated. He is now in Bombay, so whenever he is in Bombay, normally एक बार फ़ोन करते हैं, अरे किधर हो, घर पे आ जाओ, अरे थोड़ा गप्पा मारते आ जाओ. Because after he was transferred, I stopped working there. It's pretty dirty, and I don't do that. As long as he was there, he says, अमित किसी को पैसा मत देना, तुम पैसा देके मुझे परेशान कर दोगे. मैंने इन लोगों को बहुत मुश्किल से बनाया है. मैंने सबको बोल दिया है कि कंसल्टेंट से कोई पैसा नहीं मांगेगा. हाँ नहीं, कंसल्टेंट नहीं, ही दिस चीफ इन हिज टाइम ही सेड कंसल्टेंट से मत लो, मुझे पहले सारे डिज़ाइन हो जाने दो, सारा टेंडरिंग हो जाने दो, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर से आप ले लेना. कंसल्टेंट से क्या मिलेगा? कंसल्टेंट को एनीवे आई एम पेइंग 2% ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट. वो 2% में से वो आपको क्या देगा? उससे अच्छा है आप पूरा का पूरा 2% कॉन्ट्रैक्टर से ले लो ना ज़्यादा, ताकि एटलीस्ट प्रोजेक्ट आगे निकले. कंसल्टेंट से मांगोगे तो वही डिले, वहीं पे ही डिले चालू हो जाते हैं. ही वॉज वेरी डायनेमिक, हरपाल सिंह. नाउ ही विल बी लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल आई सपोज. ही इज नेक्स्ट टू नेवी चीफ, नंबर 2 आफ्टर नेवी चीफ.